in, squeeze on in. Sorry, we got to get a wheelchair through the door, so. Mr. Walker, you okay there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, everyone in? Can you hear me okay? Our broadcast partners, can you hear okay? You're getting good audio? You mean I should turn the microphone on? All right, are you hearing me now? Is this too loud or is this okay? Yeah? Okay. Well, welcome. I'm Janet St. James. I'm AVP of PR and Media Communications at Medical City Healthcare. Medical City McKinney is part of the North Texas division of Medical City Healthcare. Before we begin, and due to the number of media requests, we want to let you know that there will be no individual interviews after this press conference. This will enable our staff to get back to caring for our community and their patients, and also allow our patients, including Mr. Walker, to rest. Mr. Walker will be providing a statement, but unsure at this point how many, if any, questions he'll be answering. Because this, as you all can imagine, is a lot to process. And that's why Mr. Washington, his attorney, is at his side. So he will be helping decide what questions to answer and what other questions he may not want to answer. Okay? Before we start, a little background. Saturday, May 6th, Medical City Healthcare Trauma Facilities received 8 patients from the Allen Premium Outlet shooting. Medical City McKinney is less than 3 miles away and received the first patient within 14 minutes of the initial reports. That first patient was Mr. Walker. As a Level 2 trauma center with the ability to provide the most comprehensive trauma care, Medical City McKinney works very closely with our first responders, EMS, police, and we were very proud to partner with them on that day and every day to provide life-saving care when time was precious. So joining us today is Irvin Walker, who was seriously injured in the shooting. Daryl Washington is Irvin Walker's attorney. Cassidy Summers on the end is Medical City McKinney Chief Nursing Officer. She happened to be at the mall less than 30 minutes prior to the shooting and was amongst the first to respond here at the hospital. And Dr. Elizabeth Kim is our Trauma Medical Director who cared for most of the injured, including Mr. Walker. So we're going to start with some brief statements, and then we'll open it up for questions and answers, and we'll probably stop pretty close to 30 minutes exactly. So let's start with Dr. Kim.
Hi, I want to thank you guys so much for being here today. My name is Dr. Elizabeth Kim. I'm the Trauma Medical Director here at Medical City McKinney. I have been the TMD here since 2017, and I have seen us basically grow from a small...
Hold on. Do we need to move the mic up a little bit closer? Can you guys hear? Sorry.
Okay. Is that better?
Yes, ma'am.
So you want me to start over?
Yes, please.
Okay. Hi, my name is Dr. Elizabeth Kim. I am the Trauma Medical Director at Medical City McKinney, and I just want to thank you guys for coming here today. I have been the TMD since 2017, and I've had the privilege to see our trauma program grow from a small community hospital to the comprehensive Level 2 trauma center that we are today. We work closely with EMS. Okay, I was actually out at Allen EMS not too long ago, and we work with our first responders just so that, you know, we can provide the best care for our patients. We were immediately notified about the event by Allen, and we began mobilizing. I was actually at a wedding for one of our trauma nurse practitioners when this occurred. I was at the reception, and once I heard, I immediately left her reception to come here. So on my way, I spoke to the CMO, Dr. Julka, and we began continuing to coordinate care for our patients. So, while I was driving in, it was about a 20-minute drive. I was mobilizing the operating room. We had already mobilized all my partners. We actually had 5 trauma surgeons that responded in that very short period of time. We got multiple anesthesiologists. We began mobilizing blood, and I did all of that in those 20 minutes while I was driving in. Once I arrived, I could really see that the training and the drills that we had done in our trauma center just to provide good care for our patients was very apparent. We were able to effectively take care of, 7 sick patients almost simultaneously and provide excellent care to all of them. As the TMD, when I first walked in the ER door, I walked down the hallways to, see what patients that we had. I evaluated the majority of the patients, including Mr. Walker here. I ensured that we had the appropriate services for all of our patients. As more of my trauma partners began arriving, I directed them to go help, in the OR or in the ER, and just so that we can continuously provide care for our patients. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about your injuries, okay, Mr. Walker? So, the first time we met, like I said, was in the emergency room, and your smile, you had a smile there that I saw when I came in that room, and it really was one of the bright parts of that day. I just want to let you know, okay? You were calm, and, you were an inspiration for me.
Thank you.
So when I walked, and I remember that when I was there that day. So, he had multiple bullet fragments, around his head, his neck, his chest, his arm, and at that point, it wasn't something that immediately needed the operating room. He was, he was someone that was a candidate to go straight to CT, so we could see how deep those bullet wounds went. And when we were, looking at those, there were several bullet fragments that we were extremely worried about. Okay, one of them went to basically it's the pericardium. It's the closest layer of the heart, and it's right next to the heart. On the CAT scan, it looked like his heart was okay, and it wasn't something that needed emergent surgery. And we actually had our thoracic surgeon, take a look at your imaging as well that day. But we ended up doing an echocardiogram to ensure that, you didn't have any fluid that was starting to build up. The other bullet fragments that we were extremely worried about were the ones in your shoulder. You had bullet fragments below your clavicle bone, and that's where some of the main blood vessels go to the arm, and, they can cause significant bleeding and injury. And so the vascular surgeons were helping us as well. They were there that day, and they evaluated your imaging as well. And luckily, your artery looked fine. Because of the damage surrounding the vein, we were very worried about you developing blood clots, and so that's why we've had you, on medication to help prevent that. So, he had multiple surgeries while he was with us. The extent of soft tissue damage that he had was pretty extreme. We had to clean those out. Eventually, we were able to close those wounds back up. And, he's doing much better than he first arrived, but he still has a long road to go for a recovery. He's been seen by our rehab doctors. He's working with the therapists as, they improve mobility in your arm. And so the last thing I kind of wanted to say was that, I am so proud of my trauma center. I've worked with our teams and our nurses and, our administration just to provide excellent care for our patients. And it was really apparent that day that everyone's hard work, with everyone's hard work, we were able to provide excellent care to our trauma patients. And, we always want to keep our patients near their local communities. It's, in my opinion, it's better for patients, it's better for families, and I'm so glad that we are here in McKinney and that we're able to provide that care.
Cassidy.
Thanks.
I'm Cassidy Summers, Chief Nursing Officer. I've served here for the last 7 years. On May 6th, in a matter of minutes, our community was shaken and lives were changed forever. In a matter of minutes, could have altered the course of my life. My family and I had just gotten home from the Allen Mall when I received the notification that there was a shooting there. And after the fact, I learned that we had walked the exact same path that the shooter had gone less than an hour before. I came directly to Medical City McKinney, where we immediately stood up the command center. This allowed us to coordinate staffing, decompress the emergency department, manage family and visitors, deploy appropriate supplies and resources so that our staff could focus on the high quality of care that our patients needed at the time. As a Level 2 trauma center, Medical City McKinney is prepared to receive critically injured trauma patients. And within a matter of minutes, Mr. Walker was the first of 7 critically injured patients that we received in our emergency department. In addition to our caregivers on duty that day, we had over 100 nurses, surgeons, physicians, leaders, and support staff from Medical City McKinney and across Medical City Healthcare who stopped what they were doing on a Saturday afternoon within a matter of minutes and responded to this crisis. Every person responded with speed, skill, and a tremendous amount of compassion for the patients, their families, and for one another. I am incredibly proud of this team that demonstrated under stress and emotional situation. And more importantly, I am honored to be sitting here with Mr. Walker today under much, much happier circumstances. It's in minutes like these when we are able to see our patients recover and heal that gives us a sense of unity, hope, and strength to show up and provide care for our community. Thank you.
Mr. Walker?
Whoa. Thanks everyone for showing up. Glad to be here. I am. I'll hold it.
Just bring it close to you. Don't try to hold it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. Enormous thanks and praise to the Most High God that protected me through this process. And when I say process, it's a process that's going to continue to be ongoing. As soon as I entered this hospital, medical professionals expressed the highest level of love for me. I had the mindset that, you know what, when I come here, the energy I'm going to give out, I expect back. So I continued glorifying my Lord. I continued thanking people in advance for using their expertise to repair my body, my spirit, my hope. And, you know, that mindset, I think, got me through. Met some incredible people along the way. Too many names to express, and my memory's not that good. But from the technician to the person cleaning the hospital to the doctor, nursing lead, they all came in confident and gave me hope through this process. And hopefully I can keep in touch with a few of them to continuously give me hope through the process. I think this event was just evidence of evil not winning, you know. The power of God just showed brightly and gave me an opportunity to fight through this process, and evil is not going to win. You know, I think my faith is strong, as most people have evidenced that in this in the hospital. I have nothing to say about the shooting or the shooter or anything like that. It's all love. I believe you give love, you get love, and that's why I'm here today. You give love, you get love. I'm grateful to be able to continue my healing process with hopefully Medical City or other doctors or other branches of medical help. I'm just grateful to be here, grateful to see my daughter again, great to see my supportive team, my fraternity brothers, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, locally, nationally, administration of the hospital, family, friends. It's just incredible what we could do if we unify and come together for a great cause, put our minds together. Prayer, man, the prayer is just incredible. I mean, people are praying all over the country, UK, Arizona. I'm getting all kinds of feedback of people praying for me. I just want to say I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and love everyone. Thank you.
Also, I know you guys are going to have questions, and I'll just ask you to just sort of limit your questions just a little bit. This has been very difficult for Irving to try to have to relive this, but I know I can echo on behalf of Irving's family, friends, fraternity brothers. One of the most difficult things for us is getting him away from Medical City. I mean, because I think the way they have treated him here, I think it's been fantastic. He calls you guys his dream team, and I think that means a lot to Irving. You guys are going to hear his story. You're going to see pictures of the car, and I mean the car. It just doesn't do any justice to what you've heard. When you see the shots to the windshield, you're going to wonder how he's even sitting here today. But again, Irvin wants to try to answer as many questions, but we're just going to ask that you be very limited in your questions and just kind of respect that he's trying to get his health back together and trying not to have too much coming at him at one time.
Okay. If it's okay, because we have a full room, I'll just sort of call. Steve, you want to start?
Mr. Walker, I do, because Dr. Kim and Ms. Summers gave a scenario of where they were when this happened. Your comfort level in explaining to us just the scenario for you, were you just driving up? My understanding, you didn't even get a chance to park, where you're able to share for you the chronology of what happened to you.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can do that. I was dropping my girlfriend off to a store. The line was extremely long. I was at the Tanger Outlet Mall, and I was lying around the building. I said, "Hey, go ahead and enter the building, and I'll park." It was a weekend before Mother's Day. I anticipated it was going to be very difficult to park. So I said to go ahead and get a head start, and I'll be in there shortly. I had to, I could not park close in proximity to the store, so I proceeded around, and that's where a tragedy started.
First off, Mr. Walker, I'm glad that you're here praying for you and the others as they continue to recover.
Thank you.
And kudos to all of you. Appreciate all your hard work. In your comfort level, if you feel comfortable answering this, in regards to the security guard, Christian LaFour, who died at Heathrow, did you have interaction with him, and would you feel comfortable just talking about the interaction?
Okay.
Just very briefly, you can.
Well, after I had already been impacted by the shooter, and I'd already exited my vehicle and running for seeking for help, 'cause I knew I couldn't drive to the emergency room. I wasn't too familiar with the area, so my mindset was to let me get out and seek help, right? I knew I was bleeding profusely, so I got out my vehicle and I saw what looked like a security officer approaching on his Sedgwick, and I ran towards that way. So that was our initial meeting. He came to me. He appeared at I don't know how much detail I should give, but that was our interaction. You know, and he proceeded to tell me to have a seat, because I was walking and running. I was running, then I started jogging, then I started walking fast because I knew the urgency of my matter, to a seat, right? And he was behind me, and I don't have much to say after that. The tragedy occurred.
Next question. Yes.
It's been beautiful hearing you discuss your strong faith. If you're comfortable with it, could you tell us about the way that you prayed while you were at the mall, if you're open to that?
Yes, I do remember. I know that in this, never been shot before, so it was in, I guess, what most people would call shock at the moment. But anytime I'm in trouble, I call on the Lord, because I knew God was the only way I'd get out of that. And it wouldn't be a person per se. It would be, you know, God that would bring me through that process. So I just began to praise Him and be thankful, glorify Him as the Most High. And most people that know me, I might just start praying out of the whim. I may just start giving Him glory in the most unforeseen times. So people that know me, it's just something I do. So to answer your question, I'm always praying, but I just exalted Him as the Most High during that time and asked Him for His protection. And that's it.
Next question back there.
Yeah, Mr. Walker, appreciate you making time. And good advice for all of us, always be praying. I'm curious, as you sat there wounded and praying, when did you know for certain that you were going to be okay?
I would have to say this. First off, I didn't see the shooter. So, when did I know it was going to be okay? Let me think about that.
If it's okay, may I just redirect this just a little bit? Mr. Walker still has a way to go in his recovery, so maybe you talk about where you go from here?
Yes. You want me to?
Maybe we don't know yet where you're going from here. Okay, how about this? Doctor, I know that we talked a little bit about the impact of the car that he was in. Can you talk about the impact of that? Is that okay?
Can I be more specific on the question regarding that, Dr. Kim? Because you used the term bullet fragments. Was he shot, or is his injury sustained from glass flying? Give me some indication of the severity of his injuries.
I think probably all of the above. I mean, he had multiple wounds, too many to even count. You know, on his head, on his, shoulder, neck, chest, all of those places. And some of those bullet tracks were so extensive, we actually had to open them up and clean everything out underneath. And so from here, you're asking where is he going from here? We're going to rehab hopefully the next day or so just, because he's still in the early process of healing. He still has wounds that have nowhere close to being fully healed. Then he's going to have to work on, we worry about contractures, range of motion in his shoulder, the muscle and the skin and the soft tissue damage that he sustained. So he's, like I said, got he's doing great. I'm so proud of how you're doing right now. But, we're still in the beginning process of healing from this injury.
And just to further answer his question that he had when Urban knew he was going to be okay, I mean, one of the things that Urban said when he saw his family, his daughter, all his fraternity brothers, everybody that was here pulling for him, supporting him, and knowing, that he was in good hands, he really felt comfortable knowing that he was going to be able to make his way through this. He didn't have an option in this. His friends, college friends who's been around him for years, were always around him, pushing him, didn't give him an opportunity to really think about what actually happened. So I think with all of that happening, it gave Urban the comfort, because he knew we weren't going to come here, and they weren't going to come here and allow him not to get better.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for Ms. Summers and also Dr. Kim, if you would like to answer it. You're both trained to handle trauma. This was close, especially the fact that you had been at the mall with your family 30 minutes, an hour beforehand. Throughout that day and in the time afterwards, how have you balanced that putting one foot in front of the other and doing your job with the fact that it was so close to home and so inside your own community?
I mean, for me, living in the present moment and making sure that I'm present and available to support the staff and give them what they need so that they can give the care for our patients is really what my focus and priority was. Of course, I think about it and, try to process that, but we have resources within our company that has helped with mental health, as well as we have a behavioral health unit here with trained professionals that were available immediately for our staff, for our leadership team, for our physicians. So that has really helped us all to process this.
Yes, sir.
Yes, can I just get Mr. Walker's age and where he's from?
46, Lafayette, Louisiana.
Okay. Yes, sir.
For Dr. Kim and Ms. Summers, just two quick questions. I feel like the general public doesn't really understand what damage could be caused by a rifle bullet. Would you just be able to briefly describe sort of the types of devastation that y'all saw after Saturday?
Sure. I'm a trauma surgeon. I have been a trauma surgeon since I finished residency at UT Southwestern at Parklands at 2010. So I was there from 2005 to 2010, and at that time we were one of the busiest trauma programs in the country from my training. And so I've seen a lot of traumatic injuries, and with the extent of damage and soft tissue damage that I saw on my patients in general was extreme.
Doctor, could Mr. Walker have died?
Yeah, like I said earlier, the bullet was about this close to his heart and to his subclavian artery. If either of those fragments had gotten any deeper, he may not be here. He could not possibly not have been here today.
For the second question, y'all mentioned 7 patients. Did any patients that y'all received end up dying? And do you think that if you had gotten those patients sooner, could they have been saved?
So, we had multiple providers there when all of those patients arrived. They did not come in all at the same time. So there was some, and, we had enough providers to take care of everyone as soon as they came in. I can't go into much detail about, those 2 patients that you're talking about, but we did have 2 patients that did not survive. But
I have one question. Can you tell me what's it like having your family, your friends beside you as you recover?
It's an incredible feeling, right? The ideal feeling is to have everyone that's loving around you. It's kind of like a wedding or a large celebration. And it's like, gosh, these people I haven't seen in years are coming around and embracing me with continuous love. And it's unimaginable. I never imagined that I would have to experience this, but also didn't imagine that many people love me. You know, so it's just an incredible feeling. It's hard to describe.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Heather Parker, Texas McKinney. Thank you so much for speaking to us today. Can you tell us a little bit about your life prior to the incident?
I work in the insurance field, so I work full time, and I was in the midst of servicing those that had catastrophes in the insurance field, and that is my work of life, is helping those that have had catastrophic moments in their life and hoping bringing their claims to resolve. Right.
Mr. Walker, how have you processed in your recovery? You showcase your gratitude and your thankfulness for your recovery, but as they've already mentioned, they have 7 other people. There are so many other people who have been victimized by this. How have you been dealing with knowing that there were people who were harmed in this manner?
I expressed that to my team, my family and friends. My deepest condolences. I've also had part of my team reach out to some of their families to share those condolences, and you know, it's a horrible situation. You know, it hurts to see people have to suffer and see their family or their kids pass away. So it's a tragic time, yes.
And Steve, and I hadn't shared this with Irving because I know Irving's been so concerned about, you know, all the victims. A couple of days ago, I went to the tailor that I used to get some clothes off church. And it was at that time that I saw a sign on the door that says that he was out for the next month. I've been going to this guy for over 20 years, and I knew his pride and joy was his children. And I came to learn that Mr. Wong, it was his son and wife and 2 kids that were killed. So just to see how this has really impacted the entire community is just tremendous.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Walker, this is more about being an Alpha Phi Alpha, because I know that's very important to you, and I know that's important to the folks back there. What does it mean to have that support behind you? I know you kind of touched on it, but I want to give the opportunity for the Alpha Phi Alphas to represent in this moment.
Well, it's one of those things, you know, there's a word that we use, a lot of us when we're going through membership intake process, and it's the word heavy, you know. And heavy it describes adversity. It describes a time that most people regret in their lives. And these guys make sure that I'm not heavy. They absorb the burden off of me just to take care of my family or all my worries, and they make sure I'm not heavy. So I'm grateful to the brothers, all fraternities, all sororities. It doesn't matter ethnic background, it doesn't matter. I've been getting love from everywhere, but I am grateful to my brothers, yes.
And just to mention this, his fraternity brothers that are supporting him, I would just ask his Alpha brothers to stand up, who are here supporting him. They're all in the back, so he has a large contingent of fraternity brothers that are here with him.
One more question over here.
Dr. Kim, you talked about your team being prepared for this, and we're dealing with more mass shootings in this country, and now this one hits close to home. What type of things did you guys do to prepare, and is anything changing as these things become more frequent? As far as what doctors do, because through your training, I don't know how many of these doctors have gone through these type of injuries before. So what type of training do you do? Will anything more happen from this?
So, you know, we had the Collin County potential MCI that happened, you know, just right before that, and we actually responded because we thought that was a real situation. So we had gone through the entire response just right before this happened, and we have a written out response and how we're supposed to manage those, and so that definitely helped our team, in this instance. But we continue to do that. We have a Stop the Bleed coming up. We do a lot of community training with that, and treating all of our patients. We go down the emergency room. We do drills just with patients coming in. We have disaster relief organization here at the hospital, a committee, and so we always kind of go through all of these things in that committee, and that's where, all of our training comes from. And Cassidy, anything else you want to add?
I mean, we partner with local police and EMS and go through mass casualty events and scenarios where we have patients mocked up, and we bring them all in and we practice through those things. I mean, those are the tests that we hope that we never have to go through, but I'm very proud we were prepared, and it's something that we do on an annual basis, and we'll continue to enhance our program from this and learn lessons.
I promised Mr. Walker that this would take only 30 minutes, so before I allow another question, are you okay to have a couple more? We okay? You're the boss.
I mean, the only thing on my mind is just that I want everyone to keep this community in your prayers. There's people that are far and long are impacted by this, and we just want you guys to keep them lifted. And I know it's going to be an ongoing process, but just keep them lifted. The doctors, the hospitals, everyone that's involved in this process, keep them prayed up, please. Thank you.
Do we have time for 2 more questions? 2 more. 1, 2.
Mine actually is for Ms. Summers and Dr. Kim again. Can you describe the emotion of leaving your plans, dropping everything on a Saturday afternoon, and knowing after all this training on a mass casualty event that this was going to be the real thing?
I think when I first got that call, my first thought is we need to prepare. So, we need to get ready. We need to make sure all of our resources are being mobilized. And that's something I'm trained for. As in trauma surgery, we just start taking care of the patients with what we see, and we ensure that we have all of the resources that we need to take care of those. And then afterwards, you kind of sit down and start to decompress. And sometimes that's, the time where I need my family, I need my support system to just help me through that situation.
Yeah, and I think for me, my background is emergency nursing, so I've had 20-plus years of training for these events, and have been through a few mass casualties, not to this extreme, but you just immediately go into a focused work mode, and it was nothing to me to stop and head into the hospital to provide the support for our team.
One last one. Yes?
Hi, everyone. My name is Luke. I'm the Spectrum News. I just left the memorial. They took down all of the crosses, but there's one lone cross. I guess my question to you today was, will you be visiting that spot today? Will you be visiting that, what's left of that memorial that was taken down?
I can't answer that. I'll visit it today, as I'm not leaving the hospital just yet. I'm going to pursue rehab opportunities. But in some way I'll express my condolences. I'm not sure if it'll be expressed by driving by the scene, but at some point I will express my condolences.
I think everyone has had an opportunity to ask a question. Yes? All right, one last one.
Mr. Walker, if you feel comfortable talking about this, just so I'm kind of getting the scenario right in my head, we're talking about the damage to your vehicle. Were you aware that somebody had started shooting, or just you were all of a sudden injured?
Well, I didn't see the shooter. I just felt the shots, and in trying to move forward away from the impact, I did end up seeing a shooter. I couldn't make out what, at that time I I'm sure glass had already came up, and I was bleeding at somewhere, but I didn't. I felt impact before I saw a shooting occur.
Are we good, everyone? All right. Thank you, Mr. Walker, for sharing your story with us. And Dr. Kim, Cassidy, we appreciate you. Mr. Washington, thank you. We appreciate everyone's time. I have to tell you that when the time comes and you have to leave, we'll be sorry to hear you go, because all of my text messages say that you're the hospital's favorite patient. So thank you for your time today. Thank you, everyone. If we can let them depart, I'll stand back and you guys can depart. And if the media will just stay here just for a second after they go.